In this assignment, you will install the ceiling objects in each room of the building information model. You double-click on the finished floor 1 in the project browser under your floor plan views. We will start our installation with bedroom 1, which is here. So to install a ceiling object, you will go to the Architecture tab. In the Build panel of the Architecture tab, you will see the option for ceiling. In the Properties, you want to select a generic ceiling. In your ribbon, you should have a Modify Place Ceiling tab that is now active. In the Ceiling panel of that ribbon, you want to select Sketch Ceiling. In the Constraints section, for the level, you will install the ceiling on the Finish Ceiling 1. Since you are installing the ceiling on the Finished Ceiling 1 level, you will need to change the height offset from level to 0. The Finished Ceiling 1 is indicated by the bottom of the roof framing. The ceiling object will be attached to the bottom of the roof framing. This is why the ceiling object will be placed on the Finished Ceiling 1 level. In the Draw panel, you will click on the down arrow and you will select the Pick Walls option. When installing the ceiling objects, you will utilize the inside of the walls as the boundary for the ceiling object. You will take your cursor and you will click on the inside of the interior walls. I'll go down and select this wall, the inside of this wall, and this wall. So what you may see is the layout for the ceiling should be on the inside of the walls for this particular space. Then what we want to do is we want to create a corner here. So in the Modify section of the panel, you want to select the option that says Trim Extend to Corner. You are to select the vertical line for the ceiling layout and the horizontal line for the ceiling layout. That should create a corner inside of this room. We would do the same thing for the bottom left corner of this layout. So we will go back to the Trim Extend to Corner and select the vertical line of the ceiling layout and select the bottom horizontal line for the ceiling layout. Again, that should give you a nice corner here. We will need to make sure we check the other corners, and we will need to do the same thing here. So we will click on this vertical line for the ceiling layout and this horizontal line for the ceiling layout. So again, the ceiling layout should be on the inside of the space where you are going to install the ceiling. Once that is the case, in your ribbon up in the Mode panel, you will select the green check. While you are in the floor plan view, you will not be able to see the ceiling. What you will need to do is go to the View tab. In the Create panel, you will select 3D view. In order to see the ceiling, you will need to hide the roof objects. So to hide the roof object, you would just select the roof below your modeling area. You will select the eyeglasses and choose hide category. The reason why you want to hide the category is you will need to hide the main roof as well as the secondary roof here. So in this case we will select hide category. Now you should be able to see your ceiling object that you installed in bedroom 1. To install the ceiling object in bedroom 2, we will need to go to the project browser, and under the floor plans we will need to double click on finish floor 1. We will use the same technique as we did for bedroom 1 to install the ceiling in bedroom 2. To do so, you will go to your Architecture tab. In the Build panel of the Architecture tab, you will select Ceiling. When you select Ceiling, in the Modify Place Ceiling tab, you will select Sketch Ceiling. In the Properties, you will make sure that you have a Basic Ceiling Generic. In the Constraints, you will change the level to Finish Ceiling 1. The height offset will be set at 0. In the ribbon, in the Draw panel, you will select Pick Walls. You will select the insides of the walls to lay out the ceiling object. After you have selected the walls and your layout is aligned with the inside of those walls, you may have to trim the corners. So in this case here, we will go to our Modify panel and select the Trim Extend to Corner option. We will click on this part of the horizontal line that is laying out the ceiling object, and you will click on this line for the vertical line that is laying out the ceiling object. After selecting those two lines, it should give you a nice corner there. You will do the same thing for the bottom horizontal line. Since this is the part of the line we want to keep, we will select it. Then we will select the part of the vertical line that we want to keep. That will give you a corner. We will do the same thing here. We'll click on this part of the vertical line that is laying out the ceiling object, and we will click on this part of the horizontal line. So this should give us a rectangular shape that is inside of bedroom 2. In the Mode panel, in the ribbon, we will click on the green check to see the results. We will need to go to View. In the Create panel, we will select 3D View. So here you should see the ceiling object that is in bedroom 2. When installing the ceiling objects, you will utilize the inside of the walls as the boundary for the ceiling object. You will install the ceiling object in each individual space. You are to repeat that process for every space that is in the building information model. So in the closet, you will select the Architecture tab. In the Build panel, you will select Ceiling. In the Modify Place Ceiling tab, you will select Sketch Ceiling. In the Properties, your level constraint will be set to Finish Ceiling 1. The height offset will be 0. In the Draw panel, in the ribbon, you will select Pick Walls. In the Closet in Bedroom 2, you will click on the inside of each of the walls. After you click on each of the walls, you will select your Modify button. The reason why you need to select the Modify button to end the ceiling command is because this line here for the ceiling layout needs to be on the inside of this wall. In order to change it, you will just select that line and find your double arrows. The double arrows will allow you to flip that line so it goes on the inside of the closet. So here you will click on the double arrows to flip it. So if there is a case where you need to flip the layout line for the ceiling, you will just use your double arrows to flip it. After you see the layout is on the inside of the closet, then you will need to trim and extend the corners. So we'll click on the Trim Extend to Corner command and click on the parts of the lines that we want to keep for the ceiling layout. After your ceiling layout is on the inside of the closet, in the Mode panel, you will click on the green check. And you will just keep repeating this process. Architecture tab. In the Build panel, you will select Ceiling. In the Modify Place Ceiling, you will select Sketch Ceiling. Properties should say Basic Ceiling Generic. The level should say Finish Ceiling 1. Height offset should be set at 0. When you go to the Draw panel, you will select Pick Walls. And you will pick the walls that are on the inside of the linen closet. And in this case here, this line for the layout for the ceiling is on the outside. We need to flip it to the inside. So we just click on our double arrows to flip. Then in the Modify panel, you will select Trim Extend to Corner and click on the parts of the lines for the ceiling layout that you want to keep. Once you see the layout is on the inside of the room, then you click on the green check in the Mode. We're now going to install the ceiling object over the stairs, which is here. The next space we will install the ceiling object will be in the closet of bedroom 1. The next space you will do will be the coat closet that is right beside the opening for the chimney. The one space that you will not put a ceiling object in will be the space where the chimney is located. So you will need to leave this space without a ceiling object. One of the final spaces that we need to apply a ceiling object to will be in the kitchen and dining area, in the hallway, and in the living room. We would do this slightly different from the way we did the other spaces that are in the building information model. We will stick to the same ideas using the insides of the walls. Unlike the other spaces, you will notice that the kitchen is not closed in by a wall. The hallway is not closed in by the wall, as well as the living room. There is open space here where someone could travel in and out of these spaces without passing through a doorway. When we install the ceiling in these three spaces, it will be one continuous ceiling. So this will be what the layout for that ceiling will look like when we install it in the living room, kitchen, and hallway. So to install the ceiling object in the kitchen, living room, and the hallway, you will go to the Architecture tab. In the Build panel of the Architecture tab, you will select Ceiling. In the Modify Place Ceiling, you will select Sketch Ceiling. You will be placing a basic ceiling generic. That ceiling will be placed on the finished ceiling level. It will have a height offset of 0. In the Draw panel, you will select Pick Walls. And you will click on the inside of these walls here. So in this case, we will need to flip this wall to make sure it comes on the inside. Now we need to do the same thing here. Need to flip this wall so the layout for the ceiling will be on the inside here. I will need to flip this wall and what I may have to do in this case, because when I select this wall here, it will not allow me to lay this out, so I may have to go to another option in my Draw panel. Let's try the Pick Lines option. So when I go to the Pick Lines, I'm able to click on the wall here. I'll go to the Trim Extend to Corner, click on the parts of the ceiling layout that I want to keep. And so when I get this message in this case, if you see this, we'll click on Unjoin Elements. Then I'll go around and keep clicking to create my corners. So I'll click on this line and this line to create a corner here. Let's see if it will let me do this corner. Unjoin Elements. I'll say yes. I want to click on this line and this line to create that corner. And what happened, I think this line may have been deleted, so I'll just go to my Draw. So I'll use my Line tool, and I'll just go from the end point of this line to the end point of this one. Because what you want to make sure happens is you leave the gap of space between here. So that should create the layout for the ceiling object that will cover the living room, kitchen, and the hallway. You want to make sure that the layout for the ceiling is on the inside of the walls for those spaces. After you have created all of the lines that are going to lay out the ceiling, and you have corners, and you have the corners of those lines trimmed properly, in the Mode panel you will click on the green check. To see the results of your ceilings that you have placed, you will go to the View tab. In the Create panel, you will select 3D View. And you should have a ceiling object in all of the spaces except the space where the chimney is going to come up through this space here. This is the only space that you should not have a ceiling object. And you will notice that this ceiling object here is covering the kitchen, living room, and hallway. To add your roof back onto your building information model, if you look under your modeling area, you want to click on the set of eyeglasses. Once you click on that, you want to select the one that says Reset Temporary Hide Isolate. Once you make that selection, everything that you had hidden should come back into view. This completes adding the ceiling objects to the various spaces in your building information model.